So we have a much abbreviated, a 30-minute class period, but we can get through these no problem. We're going to look at incomplete dominance and codominance. And we are going to do our lecture notes, continue with our lecture notes on page 24 of our notebooks, and continue on to page 26. But right now, I would like you to please do this problem on page 23 of your notebook. You should have two other incomplete dominance problems that you tried last night on page 23. If you didn't, it's okay. Yeah, we'll work on them together. What? Can you scroll back up? Can I scroll back up? Oh, you want to see our SOAR goal for today? Yeah. Okay, so our goal for today is to use incomplete dominance and codominance to solve genetics problems, because we want to make sure that we are continuing to work towards succeeding academically and being ready for college and career. Okay? So as I told you yesterday, you're going to see the S and the S and the R quite a bit in here. But underlying all of that is, I try to model for you, and I see it a lot with your behavior, that you are responsible and you're good citizens, and that you can effectively communicate. And that means getting help when you need it, okay? And being able to write complete sentences for your questions and so on. Yes, ma'am?
Are we writing that on the top of
Okay, so are you writing your objective on the top of every page? This would be great for your essential question when you're in your Avid Cornell notes. Okay, your essential question is, how do I use incomplete dominance, or how can incomplete dominance and codominance be used to solve genetics problems? That's your essential question, because that's the overarching idea over everything that we're doing. So your test over all of this stuff on basic genetics and meiosis and all these different types of genetics problems that we're learning is going to be a week from today. So as a result, we're losing Monday. Monday's a non-school day. So what I need to do, I'm going to record my lecture that I would have given on Monday on sex-linked traits, and I'm going to post it on Google Classroom, and you can watch it, my YouTube version, take notes, and learn how to do sex-linked traits. Okay, and we'll do virtual classroom to make up that day that we're missing, because we have to give the test next Friday, because that next weekend is also a 3-day weekend. Yes. So we have 2 3-day weekends in a row, and we can't afford to push the test off to the following Tuesday, because then you have a 3-day weekend in which you're going to get all discombobulated. So we need to have the test on Friday before we leave.
Wait, next Friday.
Next Friday. So I need to make up a day, so we'll do, if you get the notes and listen to the remainder of this lecture, it'll be a lecture on sex-linked traits. Then you can learn how to do that from home. Do it remotely. Yes?
6 weeks is next Friday too, right?
I believe so, right? This is the 5th week of school, so yeah. Next question? I'm sorry, what? What'd you say?
Is there Talon season?
I do not know. I don't know. This week is not a Talon. But I will tell you, it's not really Talon. I'm here for the SAT. I will be giving the SAT test in here tomorrow for a group of like maybe 30 kids. If you go home and you start trying to do this stuff and you get like, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? You can come in tomorrow. It's not a Talon, but I will be here from 8 to 12 tomorrow. The gate will be open. The hallway door will be propped open. You can come in here and get some help. You just have to be super quiet, because they're going to be taking a practice SAT test. So you can come in and have a pretend little mini Talon with me tomorrow if you need help, and I'll be here to help you. Okay? All right. So let's go on here. I want you to do this genetics problem on page 23. If the colors of dragons is incompletely dominant, and we have a blue dragon that has capital B gives you a blue dragon trait, and yet little b gives you a yellow dragon trait, and the heterozygous gives you a green dragon trait, what is a cross between a green dragon and a yellow dragon going to give you? So I need you to give me my parent genotypes the Punnett square, set it up, solve it, and then give me the genotype and the phenotype ratios. Do that right now. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Question.
Okay, so our first step is to look at those phenotypes and figure out what the genotypes of the parents are. So, in order to get a green dragon, what genotype do we have to have? To get a green? Yep. The heterozygous gives us the green. And a yellow dragon, the genotype is?
The homozygous.
Yeah, homozygous recessive, the little b, little b. Okay, did you get that part right?
Yes.
Now it's just like a one-trait cross. It doesn't matter which parent you put on the top and which parent you put on the side. No, not at all.
Oh, okay, then I got it right.
Okay, not at all. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then when you put your letters back together, it just matters that you put the capital letter first when you're doing a one-trait cross.
I got you.
Okay? Did we do okay? Yeah. Okay. Now we need to give our genotype and phenotype ratios. So 50% of each, 50% green, and 50% yellow. All right? Yeah. You just wrote the words, you didn't write the letters? Yeah. I would write the letters. Typically, because on the test, you need to be able to, though, go between the letters and the definition. You need to be fluid between both of those, okay? But it's probably quicker just to write the letters. All right. You want to do one more?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Let's cross 2 green dragons. So I want the genotypes of the parents, I want the Punnett square, and I want the genotype and phenotype ratios. You remember what gives us green, right?
Yes. Big B, little B.
Okay, so big B gave us blue, little b gave us yellow. So in order to get a blue dragon, you had to be big B, big B. In order to get a yellow dragon, you had to be little b, little b. Now you can do the rest, right? Because this is incomplete dominance. So we have blending. So if you're big B, little b, you have green.
Blue and yellow actually do.
I know blue and yellow do make green. That's why I chose those colors. Because I literally wanted it to really be blending, you know. That's why we had those red flowers and those white flowers, and they gave us pink. The same way with your laundry.
That was good. That was good.
Oh, hopefully not. Hopefully you know, if you have a red shirt, you wash it with darks. You should separate your clothes into darks and lights. People don't segregate. Laundry, segregation is good.
My parents should be
Yeah, same.
saying
Shoot, I make my girls do their laundry.
2 separate pounds.
And you know, like unmentionables, under things, those are always nice to wash those separately on hot water.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff, I wash everything on cold.
Am I supposed to wash white on hot?
Not unless you can use bleach and all that stuff. And a lot of our synthetic fibers, you can't put bleach on it. So, you know, your nice white t-shirts, if it has any stretchy material in it, anything with a spandexy or anything like that, if you put hot water on that and bleach, it's going to yellow it. The bleach will chemically react. My goodness, this is like a laundry lesson on our YouTube channel now. Sorry.
And you can't dry everything either.
Oh, no. We hang things to dry so we don't ever have to iron.
I hate
Just fluff it a little bit in the dryer and then hang it up.
Yeah.
You know what? If I could just come to your house and help you guys learn how to do laundry, I would.
my dad. He He irons his undershirts.
Yeah, my dad irons his everything.
You guys, all these comments are going onto our YouTube channel. Okay, so this is your genotype breakdown. How'd you do? Good. And so we have 25% blue dragons, 50% green dragons, 25% yellow dragons. So you're going to get more practice on this because I have a half sheet of codominance and incomplete dominance problems for you. There are also tons of tutorials online. I'll pick a good one and put it up for you guys so you can watch it. But again, if you need help, I'm doing an unofficial Talon tomorrow. If you need to come in, okay, I'll have a little bit of space over on the side, but you have to be like super, super, super quiet because they're taking the practice SAT. All right, it's gonna go away. Now we're going to switch to our notes. So can you go to page 24 in your notebook? And we're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. This was part of your homework for yesterday. I had asked that you do these two problems on page 23 of your notebook. Okay? So these were two practice problems that I wanted you to do in your notebook. And I put these up on Google Classroom. Okay? It was just two problems on incomplete dominance. So we'll talk about them really, really quickly. A pink flowered plant. Please remember, R gives you the red trait, and little r was the white trait. But these flowers showed incomplete dominance. If you have the heterozygous condition, and I messed it up. My writing went away. So here, we'll do it over here. This gave you red. This gave you white. So if you had this condition, you got the pink flowered plant. So this one says you're taking a pink flowered plant and crossing it with a white flowered plant. You should be able to do that cross now. Okay. Then this next one asks you, what type of cross will give you the most pink flowered plants? Keep in mind, what kind of cross will give you the highest percentage of hybrids? Are you a pirate, or are you saying R?
Like capital R, lowercase R.
I just thought he maybe say
Capital
R. Okay, so you're saying a cross between these two would give you the greatest percent of hybrids? Okay, so to justify your answer, you have to show me a Punnett square that's going to give you a high percentage of hybrids.
I'm doing it right now. Can I show you?
No, because we don't have time on the video.
It won't be.
I can tell you right now that's not the right answer.
It is
big R, big R.
I don't know. You'd have to show me the Punnett square.
It is. It has
Okay, so I want you to go back and do those, and you have to show me the Punnett square to justify your answer. Okay. All right, now we're going to talk about codominant traits. Codominant. So if you still have room on 24, you're probably getting close to your max capacity on 24. So I think it would be a good idea to switch to page 26, your next right-hand page. So we have plenty of space on page 25. Go to page 26, your next right-hand page. Because we've pretty much taken notes all about codominance and worked out a lot of sample problems. This is why we have that nice big notebook, so we can just use our space, right? Okay, so now we're going to look at codominance. Does anybody know what the prefix co means?
Share.
Co, with, share. Yeah, so if I say we cohabitate with my mom, we live with my mom.
Co-teacher.
A co-teacher, exactly, is a teacher that teaches together. So Miss Fair and I, we're co-teachers in this class. We work together, we teach together. Perfect. Perfect example. Okay, so co means with. So codominant is going to mean that you have traits that are both dominant together. Now, do you remember what the word alleles mean?
Yeah.
What's allele?
It's like, yeah.
versions of a trait. Fabulous. So, in codominant traits, codominant alleles, both versions of the trait are going to be just expressed at the same time. Okay? Both alleles or versions of a trait are going to be expressed at the same time when you have the heterozygous condition. That's what codominance means. So they dominate with each other. What do you think? I mean, incomplete dominance, what did that always look like? What did incomplete dominance always look like? Well, when you had a hybrid with incomplete dominance, if I had if in mice fur color was incompletely dominant, and you take a black mouse and cross it with a white mouse, what kind of color mouse would you get?
Gray.
A gray mouse. Okay? So what did we always have? If we had red flowers and white flowers and we got pink flowers, if we had blue dragons and yellow dragons and we got green dragons, we're always, what word are we looking for? Blending. Okay? With incomplete dominance, we have blending. But now, this is not about blending at all. This is all about both traits are dominating and being expressed at the same time. So what do we think this would look like? If you had a black dog and a white dog and bred them together, what do you think you'd get? Spots. Exactly. So we're not gonna have blending of traits anymore. We're gonna have spots and stripes and patches and things like that. Speckling. So the codominant alleles aren't dominant or recessive. They just both show. And so I'm going to give you some examples of what this looks like. So they have to be expressed at the same time.
Equal amount of power between the two?
Yeah. They both dominate. So I don't know, like, I know my husband, I would like to think that our marriage is codominant.
Yeah, right. Who wears the pants?
I will say nothing more on that, but I'm going to make sure he listens to this. No. You're a wonderful husband. There. It's on the record. Okay, so here's an example. A lot of times in these we'll see, instead of an uppercase and a lowercase, we're going to a lot of times see uppercase letters used. So like an R for black feathers, and then maybe a W for white feathers. Okay, but this example is giving us, so if you want to have a chicken with black feathers, what does its genotype have to be? Big R, big R. And if you, yes, it's the pirate chicken. And if you have a chicken with white feathers, it's going to be little r, or if we use maybe a capital W, capital W. So if we had black and white feathers, speckled feathers, or maybe a distribution of some black feathers, some white feathers, it would have to be the heterozygous. Okay? So I want to show you some pictures of how this actually plays out in nature. Okay, but I don't want to go too fast and then freak you guys out. Yes, a heterozygous and a hybrid are the same. Because hybrid is opposite of what? Purebred. So if you say that, oh, my dog has its AKC papers, it's a purebred, that means that you have only bred, let's say, bulldogs. You know, English bulldogs, and that's all you've ever bred. English bulldogs, and you don't have a terrier in the mix. As soon as you know, that terrier gets in the backyard, and your female bulldog's in heat, and and you get a mixed litter, now you don't have purebreds anymore. You have hybrids, also known as mutts. You know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, which are the best dogs. A mixture. Okay, so here is an example of codominance. You have the bull on the left, and he's a prize-winning bull, and a cow on the right.
They're weird animals.
Okay, so these are not dairy cattle. These are cattle that would be bred for meat. Okay, and And you see the speckled cow in the center. And actually, yeah, it's a cow because I can see an udder there.
You know what I wonder? Who went under a cow and was like, oh, what does this do? And then what came out? That's true.
Well, probably what happened was they noticed the young suckling and just like a baby suckles at the breast of the mother.
I wonder who determined like it's okay for centuries.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. It's really, though, are we really supposed to, I mean, why does a cow make milk for their calves, not for humans? So it's really not natural for us to drink cow milk.
Isn't it mucus or something like that? Yeah, it's pus. Yeah.
It's not pus, because pus is dead cells and bacteria and white blood cells. That's what pus is. It's not pus, it's milk, and it's just like what humans make. That's like saying a woman's breast milk is pus, which it isn't.
I thought that it was like mucus or something.
No, it's not mucus, it's milk. And what is mucus? Mucus is protein. No, boogers are dried mucus with dirt and dust and pollen grains trapped in them, and it dries in your nose hairs rather than getting into your lungs. My goodness, where we go. Here's a speckled chicken.
I don't like chickens.
Okay.
But I like many chickens. I like eating chicken.
So here's 2 examples of the animals. Yes, question? That white dot. What's that white dot? You know what? A ghost in the image. That's the ghost of their grandpa chicken that was eaten for dinner the week before.
He was in the chicken.
Okay.
It was good.
All right. So, codominant alleles. These are codominant alleles, and ABO blood types also. So, in our blood type is also an example of codominance. But, it's also an example of something called multiple alleles. Which means that instead of just having tall and short, or white, black, or speckled, you have multiple versions of the trait. So blood types, for example, you could have A type blood, B type blood, AB type blood, or O type blood. There's multiple versions of the trait. Okay? So multiple alleles are many versions of the trait. So A, B, and O type blood. Question?
Yeah, what page are we supposed to go on if you ran out of space?
If you run out of space, you go to page 26, your next right-hand page. Yes? O negative means you're carrying the recessive trait for the blood antibody, but also, so you don't have any antibodies. This is what your red blood cells look like. You don't have any antibodies on them. And in addition, you have no Rh antibodies. You don't need to know what antibodies and antigens are yet. Okay? That's something that you can study in anatomy. I don't need to give you that information right now because it'll just be too much and your brains might explode and then I'd have a mess that I'd have to clean up. Okay? So you guys can understand it, but I don't have 20 minutes to teach you that too. Okay, so in blood typing, if you have the A trait, okay, there's 2 ways you can get it. You can have 2 A traits, or you can have 1 A trait and 1 O trait. And in that case, your red blood cells would have the A markers on them. You see these little flags around. If you have the B trait, you either have the 2 B traits or a B trait and an O trait. And so there you'd have type B blood. So if this was an A or an A with an O, what genetically do you think you have to get the AB type blood? Yeah, you have the heterozygous. You have the A and the B. And if you had the group type O blood, you have none. You just have the 2 O's. They're recessive. Sometimes you'll see this written as an I with an A like that, and the recessive here written as a lowercase I. So this would be the I with the B. So to be AB, you would be this. Okay? We do not worry about the RH antigen, whether you're RH positive or negative, because that is another gene. So in that case, it would not be a monohybrid, one trait cross. It'd be a 2 trait cross that we were looking at. The way these work out is we can look at, let's say that a woman who has type A blood, but she's also carrying the recessive trait. This is what you would write down. And if she married someone who had type B blood who was carrying the recessive trait, what kinds of children could they have? Could they have a child with type O blood? Yeah, we know they could, because she can either make eggs with the A trait or eggs with the O trait, or eggs with the B trait or eggs with the O trait. Wow.
That's what my parents told me I was. Universal donor thing?
Okay, so universal donor, which must mean that you have type O blood.
Yeah.
So get thee to the blood bank.
But I have to be 16 or something.
Yeah, but you'll go and then they'll start calling you. Because if they don't know what blood type a person has and they're coming to the emergency room and they don't have time to test their blood to find out what blood type they are, they give them O type blood, and especially O negative. Because O negative blood, anybody can take it. So if you're O negative, your blood is gold. They used to sell blood. They used to pay people, but then people were using that as like a source of income and maybe going in more often than they should, and that wasn't good. Or maybe people who you kind of maybe wouldn't want their blood in you selling their blood. Yeah. Okay, so we have 25% of the offspring having type AB blood, 25% of the kids having type A blood, 25% of the type of kids having B blood, and 25% of the kids having type O blood. But if this woman's husband, if this is the mom, and this woman's husband had type O blood instead, could they have a child that had type B blood? I don't know. You might want to check what the blood type is of the FedEx man. So what I'm going to do, because we're getting close to the end of the period, okay? You're going to get a half sheet of incomplete dominance and codominance problems. I'm going to work out another Punnett square and continue recording the lecture. Okay, then I'm going to record another lecture on sex-linked traits. You want to finish this lecture, look at your examples, and then you will take notes on sex-linked traits from my recorded lecture, so that when you come back on Tuesday, you feel a lot better about codominance and incomplete dominance, and you know a little something about sex-linked traits, okay? So pause. You guys don't pack up yet. I'm going to give you your homework now, okay? Okay, so to sum up this lecture, we've got two things influencing blood types, codominance and multiple alleles. So we see that human genetics is a lot more complicated than the simple Mendelian genetics that we started off with. If you look at the human rainbow of skin colors, or the eye colors, or the different types of hair colors, we've got all kinds of colors and shades in between, all being caused by just one pigment, melanin. So this brings us to the end of this lecture, and we'll start up our next lecture talking about how did we get all these different varieties of genes and traits and phenotypes, and then we'll look at sex linkage. Okay.